Good morning. I wish to thank very much all the members of the organization for inviting me and for giving me the opportunity to express my ideas. My subject is Artificial Intelligence in Education, Opportunities and Questions. The development of artificial intelligence in the different sectors has produced noteworthy changes. For instance, healthcare, financial sectors, manufacturing have experienced profound changes due to the application of artificial intelligence. The education system is no exception in relation to the application of artificial intelligence. The sector of the education has already experienced changes and will experience changes in the future, due also to the progress which artificial intelligence is making year after year. The theme of artificial intelligence in education has different aspects. On the one hand, the application of artificial intelligence gives the opportunity of a personalized and efficient learning. It gives, moreover, the opportunity to improve the teaching activity. The chance of an automated assessment of the students is then to be added. Therefore, both teaching sector and learning sector are interested by the application of artificial intelligence. On the other hand, ethical questions are connected to the subject of the artificial intelligence. Like every profound reform, the application of artificial intelligence in the sphere of education will confront us with a multifaceted situation in which we shall find at the same time advantages and problems. The questions will go on for years and years. Learning and teaching will experience profound changes so that the problems connected to the changes will be several. Due to the complexity of the questions connected to artificial intelligence, the questions of the applications of artificial intelligence in the sphere of education are to be discussed by teachers, by parents, by directors of school. That is, the complexity of the questions connected to the application of artificial intelligence within the educational system cannot be discussed exclusively in one environment. The complexity of the subject asks for analysis which are to be fulfilled in different sectors. The discussion within the sector of the school is necessary, for sure, but not sufficient to investigate all questions connected to the applications of artificial intelligence in the education of pupils. The discussion and the analysis of the problems connected to artificial intelligence are to be fulfilled within the families of the pupils too, for instance. Since artificial intelligence involves many aspects of the personality, the persons are to be aware of aspects involved in the application of artificial intelligence at school and in any further form of education. Artificial intelligence proves to be not only a valid instrument for scholar education, but also for lifelong learning. As regards the advantages of artificial intelligence in education, the first ones which could mention are, for instance, an improvement in personalized learning and the opportunity of a more effective teaching. The big data availability, for instance, should also be mentioned. But coming now to a more detailed analysis of the advantages of the application of artificial intelligence in the sector of education, a list of the advantages could be represented, in my opinion, by the following points. Personalized learning for students, adaptation of learning to the needs of the students, and improvement in the possibility to understand for the students, a reduction of the time which teachers need to employ in the administrative duties, a greater amount of time available for teachers in the classrooms, a greater amount of time available for teachers in order to dedicate themselves to each student, a better analysis of data regarding the students so that the areas where the teacher needs to act in order to solve problems of the students can be discovered more easily, the creation of interactive ways of learning, the improvement of language skills through natural language processing, the immediate data availability, and the possibility of a real-time evaluation, the enlargement of experience of the students. The difference between students can, moreover, be discovered through artificial intelligence. Project-based learning or collaborative group activities can be different methods to be applied in order to exploit the advantages of artificial intelligence. There is also the possibility of tailoring by the teachers to students' dispositions and the ideation of programs for pupils' strengths and weaknesses. And Last but not least, for instance, customized curricula for lifelong learning. But there are also to be mentioned the variations in questions, quizzes, more motivation and more engagement, continuous learning, prompt feedback, which all enhance the learning process and motivate to continuous learning. And another factor is, for instance, that students can be more active and have a greater participation in the process of learning. They can, for instance, explore themselves, they can experiment themselves through the methods offered, through the instruments offered by artificial intelligence. And last but not least, of course, there is the possibility of fostering the learning path and to implement the self-directed learning. So as mentioned, one of the most promising and interesting aspects of the application of artificial intelligence in the education sector is represented by the personalized learning. The number of the pupils in the classes, for instance, the difference in the learning paces of the pupils, the limits of the resources, libraries, and so on, have always historically represented great disadvantages both for the work of the teachers and for the education process of the pupils. Teachers could not have the time to follow the progress of the pupils individually and to prepare learning programs adapted to each pupil. It was impossible. But now, through artificial intelligence, many aspects which turned out to be impossible before can now be realized. The possibility of a personalized individual education can, for instance, be realized. Teaching methods can be adapted to the individual pupil. The areas in which pupils need a greater attention can be easily discovered, more easily than in the past. The progress of the students can be controlled and attested immediately, or nearly immediately, anyway, with greater rapidity than in the past. Controls of the materials learned can be easily fulfilled. In general, a climate of greater trust and self-confidence can be realized in the mind of the pupils and the classrooms in general. The excellence of pupils in particular sectors can be promoted. The failures of pupils in other sectors can be more easily solved. Controls and evaluation can be more rapid through artificial intelligence. This is a valuable instrument to solve the problems of the pupils with greater velocity and efficiency. The artificial intelligence is particularly important in discovering the lack of formation of the pupils, for instance. Through the use of the instruments furnished by artificial intelligence, teachers become able to see the progress of their teaching and the effects of their teaching. They become able to see whether their method functions, for instance, that is, whether the method needs correction or completion. One further advantage of the application of artificial intelligence is represented by the possibility of spreading knowledge in disadvantaged areas of a country. The use of artificial intelligence can therefore include pupils who were before not so easily reachable by the education system. One further advantage represented by the use of artificial intelligence is that it is not limited by time limits. Furthermore, the presence of personalized platform can implement the sense of being active of the student. Contrary to what can be thought, the use of artificial intelligence in the education sphere and the education processes does not aim to substitute teachers. The use of artificial intelligence aims to improve the teaching instruments of the teachers, immediate awareness of the learning conditions of pupils, evaluation of the plus and minus of the pupils, opportunity to individualize the teaching process following the needs of each pupil, awareness of the efficacy of their own way of teaching can be easily implemented. These are valuable instruments for the activity of the teacher. As regards the ethical questions connected to the use of artificial intelligence in the sector of education, it cannot be ignored that many questions need to be reckoned with. These questions cannot be ignored. They are very important, they are essential. The following considerations can be mentioned. Data privacy, for instance, ought to be respected and controlled. The new instruments ought to be controlled by the teacher, i.e. they cannot be used blindly. They need to be controlled in any case. There will be the necessity of data protection, of respect of the confidentiality, and of compliance with rules. The use of artificial intelligence exposes to the risk that data of the students are easily available. Therefore, systems must be brought about which protect the data of the students. The systems of protection must observe the rules which a legal institutions have put. The consent for the use of the data must always be given by the students or by the families of the pupils. Moreover, only strictly necessary data may be collected to safeguard the privacy of the students, and the access to the data must be reserved to a few persons. It cannot be generalized. The presence of biases must be controlled. In historical data, for instance, the presence of biases cannot be excluded. The risk exists, moreover, that these biases could be extended to the new data. Therefore, historical data should be examined very carefully by the teachers in order to see whether biases are present in them, and in case, in order to eliminate every form of biases. There can be, for instance, biases founded on race, socioeconomic evaluation, gender. This could lead to discriminatory attitudes in the use of the data of the students. Controls and the revisions of all the historical data which are used within the application of the instruments of artificial intelligence prove therefore to be indispensable. They cannot be avoided. Furthermore, the transparency of the processes of artificial intelligence, of the evaluations, and of the judgments ought to be guaranteed. The procedures must be clear, understandable, and explained. The respect of data ownership ought always to be safeguarded. The anonymization of students is, moreover, highly advisable. It is furthermore to remember that human connection should be maintained. Human presence cannot be substituted. That is, the presence of teachers should be always guaranteed. The contents generated by artificial intelligence must be controlled. The connection with education must be continually controlled. The instruments of artificial intelligence cannot be immediately used. A certain degree of preparation for the use is indispensable. An examination of the real access to the instruments of artificial intelligence is necessary so that disparities are not created. Instruments should be put at disposal of all students who do not have an immediate access to the instruments. Digital literacy, moreover, and digital literacy training should also be part of the matters which are taught, since not everyone has competence in this matter. In general, teaching should be inclusive as regards the contents, since pupils could come from different backgrounds. Therefore, educators should also hold present the composition of their classes and prepare the artificial intelligence contents on the basis of this composition. I thank you very much for your attention, and I thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to express my ideas. Good afternoon, good morning.